just love the drama.
Maybe few turns just went to few allowance.
Clip that.
Because loose lips, sink ships.
And what the fans want is to stop teams being owned by madmen.
Listen, you're really making a mess here. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. We're getting really cross with you.
The sticky patch came when the rest of the team's sticky patch came, which was sort of January onwards.
Grumble, boobs joke, hot wings.
You should be stood outside Hillsborough and the stocks having rotten fruit thrown in.
The Wednesday week!
Put on your podcast!
Hello, good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Wednesday week. Joining me tonight, I've got Ash, Stevie and John. We're going to be talking about the point on the Desmond that we won away at Wrexham in a hard-fought, come-from-behind draw at the E-Cas race. I think it's called something like that. I believe that's the Welsh way of doing it. My apologies to all Welsh people watching. Tonight, we've got a lot to get through. There's bits about the football. There's bits about the back of house. There's bits about protests. Of course, there is. It's all happening tonight. Now, two things, bit of housekeeping in order. It's very important that you folks give us a like, subscribe and follow and all the noise that comes with that, because I like the numbers. I like seeing it when I get that little bell ring. And secondly, it's very important tonight that we get your comments. I want to gauge a reaction from you lot, because obviously when we start talking about things later on, I want to try and garner what our listeners and what you guys out there feel about certain topics that we might bring up this evening. In the meantime, Wrexham, we were off to Hollywoodland to go and see if we could stop the rot that's happening at Sheffield, and see if we could get ourselves away from Sheffield United, who are holding up the foot of the table in some weird twist of fate. And you know what? I mean that as no shade. I mean, Sheffield football's taking a bit of a kicking. Clip that. Stevie went down to Wrexham, had a good day out. How's the hangover working out? Are you all right?
Man, yesterday I was rotting, so I drank some more, and I'm even rotting now on Monday night, but it was worth every little bit. What a great day out. What a great sort of little setup. What a fantastic afternoon. What a welcome we got from Wrexham. And that's before we got onto the pitch matters. The day itself was brilliant. The performance I thought was outstanding, given everything that we've gone through over the last sort of 3-4 months. Brilliant day, brilliant point, brilliant performance. Superlatives galore from me. Well happy.
And some Imodium that'll kick in later on. So, John, how was your weekend? All right.
Yeah, really good. Yeah, decided to get a watch on iFollow. Lovely build-up pre-match, lots of positive tweets and coming out about how welcoming and Wrexham fans were, and another show of solidarity as well. And so that were quite warming. I wasn't hopeful of a good result, but we'll talk about that as we go on. But yeah, pre-match it were quite nice to see all the Wrexham fans standing shoulder to shoulder with us. Yeah,
I must admit, Wrexham and Leicester have been exemplary in their support for the for the club and its fortunes off the pitch. I must admit, fair play to them. I genuinely didn't think our fans were liked that much, if I'm honest. But it's been actually dead nice. I'm going to probably regret asking this, but Ash, how was your weekend? All right.
I've had better ones, Daniel. Thank you for asking. I've had better ones. But yeah, I just want to echo what John said. Then, I mean, isn't it nice to have two owners or one owner, because the other one was good, that actually listened to the fans and the supporters' trust for Wrexham, that obviously overturned the decision to be able to allow the trust and supporters to bring in a flag, for their, to show that obviously the protests are still going even away from home, because I think it would have been a bit tone deaf with the situation them guys were in only like 6-7 years ago. Listening to Stevie's Hello from the Other Side the other day, and obviously they were, what was it, build the budget they used to do, where they used to go around with a bucket with coins in, and then that was their transfer budget for the following summer. Stuff like that, and for their owner to turn around and, I mean, may I add, elite PR, but what else can you expect from Rob and Ryan? Of shifting a few thousand last season shirts for 25 quid, and ours are still on sale at, I think, they're 55 quid in the shop. But don't go out and buy one, obviously, because we're not. But yeah, I think it was brilliant, and the whole solidarity thing was great to see. So yeah, and obviously they've raised quite a bit of money, I believe, to go towards the fighting fund, should we call it?
Well, that's a great way of putting it. I kind of like that. But yeah, let's get into that. So initially, the flag was turned down, or the banner was turned down by Wrexham that we couldn't take in. It was seen as political, and that's always one thing I do stand behind, these political messages and not getting out. However, I didn't feel that our banner fell into that category, and they did rethink it, and I thought that was genuinely really cool. Let's talk about the football shirt thing. It was a PR stunt, might be the wrong word, but I felt it was a wonderful gesture that they didn't need to do, John. I felt like it was something that they wanted to do something. They subscribed to the colour scheme that we'd gone for. That fortunately it all aligned with when we were playing them and how expensive they were and stuff like that. And that's that can't be derided, right?
No, it was great. It was fortunate, like I said, the black and gold till it's sold. We all know what that stands for. And just another great show of solidarity to say, allow us as banners. Here's some shirts to go and fight for your cause. Like Ash mentioned earlier, half price, if not more than our own shirts. Yeah, a little bit good PR as well for Wrexham's owners, but I just think it was just a great way of getting on board with us and our fight. And yeah, fair play to them. I think it was fantastic.
I did pop a tweet out because for certain, the more cynical members of the Sheffield Wednesday supporting public, I can't believe it. It's got United written on it. What's the matter with you? Just it weren't that deep, bro. It weren't that deep. You know what I mean? Good. We're just making money. And Ash, I believe just before we went on air, there was some information shared about how much money that raised. Was that top line, or how much money that raised for the trust? What does it tell you?
It just says there was a tweet popped out by I'll quote the Daily Wednesday. I don't 4 hours ago this, so it was not been on Twitter much today, to be honest. I've been busy. So it just says that Wrexham have donated £37,500 to the Supporters Trust, all from the black and gold shirt sales. So if that's right, then holy moly, that's some money, that is.
I'd love to get that. I'd love to get that verified, and obviously that's a huge amount of money. And congratulations! I genuinely thought it was great. But I tell you what, Stevie, there's one thing I wanted to talk about going down to Wrexham, and it was there was a huge element. Wrexham come under a lot of flack, and it's not their fault. They've been bought by millionaires, and they've got this high ability to attract big investors like United Airlines, for example, and TikTok a couple of seasons before and things like that. It's not just coming out of Rob and Ryan writing checks. However, they check their privilege a lot more than I gave them credit for. Like you were saying about the hello from the other side that was out this week, and the people that turned up, what all of a sudden I perceived as an arrogant bunch of taffs. We're kind of like, we're really, really humble. Like they can't believe it as well as everybody else in football. And I think deep down, if we were asked, we'd all probably just want something like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely that. And we made the point last week when we were talking about it on the preview show. They're very self-aware at Wrexham. You get that sort of you're now getting that insight into what it's like being a Wrexham fan now that they're up at our level, and what they've gone through to get to where they are, and they're fully aware that they've probably overachieved to get to the level that they're at the moment, and they named themselves. Nathan last week named himself as we're Wrexham, we're the most hated team in the league. And it's all because they've had that ownership that you just alluded to. They can't do anything about that. And the reality is, if we could all be in that situation, nobody's going to tell us that you wouldn't want to take it, given the state of modern football. However, got off the train at 11:45, 11:50, whatever time it was. Walked up. They went out of their way to direct us to the ground. It was only 500 yards, but if you're looking for, and this isn't people that were there, it was just the locals and the people that were working on the station. Up these stairs, get yourself over there. Welcome to our club. And the first pub you see is the Turf. If you've watched the documentary, and I had an idea that it'd be very difficult to get in there, and it'd be wall to wall Wrexham and sort of sightseers and people that maybe not even going to the game that just want to experience something. It was nothing like that at all. It was a local pub, local people in there. They were all wearing the shirts. They were either wearing the red shirt or the gold number, but they welcomed us to a person, and they went out of the way to come and find us and say, we want the chairman out of your club. We've been where you are. We hate seeing how things are. And it was just really welcoming. So while you're sitting there going, oh, look, that's where Ryan Reynolds signed the wall. And that's the turf sort of the badge for the pub. And look at this over here. And look at all these bits where people have sat. And they've got McElhenney, Reynolds, and what's the Q, is it? The big lad. Humphrey. They've all got their own personalised seats in the corner. Yeah. And there's nothing behind them. They're literally there. If I wanted to go and sit in that seat, I could have gone and sat in that seat. It was fantastic. You know, they like I said, and I know I bleated a bit about it. They couldn't have done enough for us on the day. Lad, before I went into the game, said, "Here, I've paid my £25. Here's a shirt for you." So I've ended up coming home with one of the gold and black Wrexham shirts. It was just donated. They wanted to give us some money, and you know, we've taken it.
Yeah, I think it was great. Go on, John.
I was going to just off the back of that as well. I think when you think of the two clubs that have stood side by side with us so far, I think they've got in common, haven't they, that bad ownership experience. Without, you know, we've spoken about Wrexham. Leicester had their issues. I'm not talking about, obviously they won the Premier League, but before that they'd been down into League One. They'd had administration. So I think fans from clubs who've had similar plights in the past know exactly what it's like and what we're going through, and I think it'd be interesting to see how that goes through. You know, when we play like a relegated Premier League team or some team that's not gone through any sort of mire like we have. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds moving forward.
Yeah, I agree. Now, it would be remiss of me not to mention as well that the trust have also agreed to donate 5% of the money that they made from the shirts to the Sheffield Children's Hospital as well. I mean, good Lord, this has all been positive, and I don't mind telling you, I bought one. I was interested to see how much they were, and I was interested to see how much postage and packaging were, and God, it made our club and our chairman look like an absolute clown.
What a surprise, Daniel.
What's
your phrase? Clutching my pearls.
I'm clutching my pearls. But yeah, I wanted to add to my collection, and I got to donate money to our own cause and now to the Children's Hospital. You know, I mean, I'm not making any apologies for that. Come at me, bro. But let's.
Sorry, I did the same. Or should I say, my son on my behalf with my credit card did the same. So yeah.
I tell you what as well. I need to acknowledge, if you're listening to us and you're not watching, if you look at Ash's background, I've noticed that your sponsors on your frame shirts have all been edited out. Big fan of that, Ash. Big fan of the S housing.
Oh yeah. He who shall not be named. Yeah, unfortunately they are all from the era, but they are my lad's shirts. So he's obviously 17, so he's most of his life his shirts and stuff. So unfortunately they are that era, but you know.
Let's delve into some comments just to get started, Ash, and then we can move on to some more unsavoury business.
Yeah, there is Samantha Watkins. She has no problem with the owners of Wrexham. So I think there is that sort of thing. It's harsh on Wrexham supporters, isn't it? It's like you said, Dan. It's not their fault, is it?
No.
Grace Cooper's put an interesting comment. Wednesday could be bigger than Wrexham one day.
Fucking hell, imagine saying that 15 years ago.
Unforgettable Fire 1. Always had a soft spot at Wrexham, as it was my first ever away trip, winning 2-0.
Fair enough. And then it was also Barry Bannon's grandfather's team, or something to that effect, wasn't it? I did see posted on the day as well. So on Tuesday last week, the London Owls publicly announced that they're going to stage a protest against Dapon Chancellor against the Thai embassy in London on Thursday, the 4th of September. Something I'm going to go to myself, take some videos, take a look, get involved, chant some swear words. Big fan of that. The date is symbolic as it will mark the 157th anniversary of the founding of the club. The Supporters Trust proposed a boycott of the Carabao Cup tie against Leeds United, and it gathered pace with a statement justifying the stance published of a GoFundMe link for supporters to donate an equivalent amount of money to the cost of a matchday ticket towards a children's hospital as well. Love that. Big fan of that. Big fan of that. And then the Supporters Trust reach out to local pubs and businesses looking for an alternative sanctuary for fans boycotting the game against Leeds, and wanted to get everybody together, watch the game in unison. That's a great idea as well. Let's get them back in the pubs. If I put my hospitality hat on, let's get people back in the pubs. Get 16 pints. Get absolutely gassed. I need that. Go on, Stevie.
I think that. Oh, sorry. I think, Dan, the Hillsborough Tap put something out the other day saying about obviously boycotting the game has implications to local businesses and especially themselves as well, because obviously being very close to the thing. So they put something out. I retweeted it, just saying, just think about local businesses, which is right, isn't it? It's not. Absolutely. I know there's a reason why people aren't going to the game, and that's a valid reason, but it has a knock-on effect to other people.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we go on, Steve. You were going to add something, weren't you? My apologies.
No, it's fine. Just a quick, and if you are not able to get down, you can't get to a pub, I know somewhere you can watch the game with alternative commentary tomorrow night.
Alternative commentary.
Because we are doing a
Ash and Stevie. Good Lord. Give it away.
We're going to give the watch along a go.
Jeez, this has got all types of wrong written all over it, hasn't it?
I tell you it is, right? So to, again, peek behind the curtain, all the rest of it. So we've always tried to avoid doing watch-alongs and post-match reactions because we don't want to be those fans that don't go to the game and essentially give our thoughts and feelings on something we don't attend. You know what I mean? And we all have season tickets and we all want to go to the game. So I don't want to be those guys. However, this is a perfect opportunity to do this because of the solidarity with the boycott. So that's why we're doing it. So get involved tomorrow night and watch these pair try and navigate this website, which is going to be absolute fun for me to watch, or devastatingly terrible for me to watch. We've had a comment there from Cy Hodgkinson. Ash, if you want to bash it up. It says, what product has Dan put on his hair tonight? Looks more like Johnny Bravo than normal. Is it a booster or is it a turkey visit? I need to let you into a secret here, boys and girls. My hair is starting to go thin. Regular watchers of the show will realize I've lost a significant amount of weight in the last 6 months, and it turned out that after a brief Google search today, that's why my hair's falling out, because I'm not consuming enough foods, apparently. So I've had to say, it's not fun for anybody, this, lads. It's not fun. It's crap. But this shirt fits me. So, John, Pierce Charles was injured. That were crap, wasn't it?
Oh, gosh, yeah. Like we needed any more bad news with what's going on, players that we've lost and not being able to sign anyone. And then the man of the hour, or boy of the hour, he's barely a man, isn't he? But, young Pierce goes down with an injury and you're thinking, oh, crumbs, what we're going to do now? And so, fortunately, that emergency goalkeeper rule still exists. We probably had to ask why, but it still exists for teams. And we got is the American, I believe, Hovarth, who's come in, who's, I think, Cardiff's third choice goalkeeper. So that got a few comments, didn't it? A few eyebrows raised about that one. But then when you do a bit more digging into his background, he's actually played at some pretty decent level, and he's played at Champions League level. He's got caps for America. So, but we can talk about him going forward. But yeah, obviously disappointing to see Charles out, and I hope he's back sooner rather than later.
Yeah, we're looking at potentially a couple of months with that. And there was an article in the press. Michael Vaughan wrote an article for the Telegraph highlighting the plight of the club in the national press. Although it doesn't, just like the Times one today, there wasn't anything really groundbreaking. There was an attempt at humour about, reversing the way that the Don flows as well. And there was one in the Michael Vaughan thingy for Sheffield Wednesday fans who obviously monitor the situation, and for people like ourselves and you guys out there who follow all the stories. There's nothing groundbreaking in there, but I'm happy it's getting spoken about in the national media, because eyes on Sheffield Wednesday is what the point is, right? And we'll come back to the shirt PR stunt. That'll get eyes on Sheffield Wednesday, given the the public profile level that Rob and Ryan have got. And then this was the worst one, Stevie. So There was Dave Richards, the guy from One Disco, not the original Dave Richards, posted a GIF from Wolf of Wall Street saying, "I'm not fucking leaving." And then Simon posted his saleometer up to 2. It looks like that Chansiri is starting to dig his heels in somewhat.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, that one, because you kind of under the impression that there's going to be, or there's with the signature of the NDAs, there's going to be something that's going on in the background, and the reason that there's no news is that people can't talk about it. So this, the dropping of this, whatever it may be, and again, because of NDAs, we can put 2 and 2 together, and hopefully in this instance we're coming up with 5. But everything does seem to point towards the fact that primarily because people like Joe have jumped on and reposted it, and when the local journos and the local press outlets are sort of making comment on things like this, you kind of suspect that there's some element of truth to the news. Not saying that they know something that we don't, but it just seemed like a bit of a kick in the knackers on Saturday morning. The saleometer, no disrespect to Simon, I'm not really fussed about. It's been up to 6, it's down to 2. He knows something or he doesn't know something, but again, with the greatest respect, that's hearsay at the end of the day on social media. But when somebody who you believe is that sort of ingrained in the situation, it makes you think, if you are to put 2 and 2 together, the assumption would be that there's been some negotiations that have gone a certain way down the line, and then all of a sudden we're now at a point where things have fallen foul, and we know that people that have done dealings at whatever level with he who shall not be named, if that's what we're doing tonight, have done this in the past, and they've got so far down the line, and then we've gone, right, he's pulled the rug from underneath us, and the worry is that that's a situation that we might be at. Long term, what does that look like? There's lots of talk about the IFR coming in November, whether we're going to be a test case for that, etc. And I don't want to get ahead of myself because you're asking me about one point. I don't think it's necessarily the end of the world. It just means that it might get worse again before it gets better.
I agree. I tell you what, let's talk about football for the interim. Ash, going into well, I tell you what, let's do this first.
Don't go anywhere too far. It's only time for the adverts.
So going into this game, Ash, going into the Wrexham game, I mean, they've not won yet. They've not got anything on the board just yet. And how are you feeling going into it?
I think it's going to be the same going into this game than probably every game this season. A bit shit scared, a bit unknown what's going to happen. I think we're not settled on an 11 at all because of injuries, because of all sorts of things. So, yeah, Piers Charles being out, and Ethan Horvath, obviously coming in 48 hours before. He's not played football. He's not been involved in much match day squad, so he is going to be a bit rusty. So you're looking at that going, well, and who else can we play? So, yes, it's Wrexham. Any other really season, or you're looking at the 3 teams that get promoted, you're looking at them home and away to get the points from. That's what you're looking at. But where we are at the minute, even though I was mightily impressed at Leicester, not so much at Stoke at home, but if you're a stats wanker, it was lovely. Stevie alluded to it and all that. So going into Wrexham, I was looking at it going, look, they've spent some money as well. Yes, a couple of them players aren't playing. We know Windass wasn't available. He's out for a few weeks now. But I think I put 1-1 on our prediction. So I was still hoping we were going to get something out of it. So, yeah, you've just put the team up there, haven't you, Dan? So Horvath, Valerie, Iorfa, Lowe, Palmer, Kabatsky, Ingleson, Bannon, McNeil, Kadamartri and Ugbo. Now, it's not the worst 11 ever, is it? Even if you look at that. So, yeah, mate, I was hoping for a point.
Well, I tell you what, John. So Kiefer Moore is a good signing for Wrexham, good signing at this level. And after the first few minutes, after 15 minutes, he scored what I thought was a really odd goal. Like, another set piece pumped into the box, and then another one we've not dealt with.
Yeah, you can imagine. You know my feelings on the set piece, Coach Dan. Anyway, it's well known in the chat. But I think on this particular instance, there was a little bit of a coming together, wasn't it, with Cadamartra? I think it was Iofa, and they kind of got in each other's way a bit, which led to the ball dropping perfectly for Kiefer Moore just to slot it in. So I'll give him a little bit of slack on that. But at face value, another disappointing goal from a set piece, which we're still struggling to deal with. I must say as well, quickly on Cadamartra, I mean, he went to Lincoln a boy. He's certainly come back a man, hasn't he? He's put some timber on.
Glorious, isn't he? Look at him.
Yeah,
good Lord.
He's definitely filled out.
He's the type of bloke that if you were a young lady looking out to pull and you managed to pull him, you'd be like, I'm not taking my clothes off in front of this fellow. Jesus, good Lord, look at him. He looks absolutely incredible. And then 15 minutes later after that, Stevie, the lead was doubled after a bit of a howler from Horvath. Again, been with the club 5 minutes. He's probably going to get the opportunity maybe to redeem himself. But he didn't win any fans that moment, did he?
No, it looked nervy. It didn't look great, at the time. It looked like a relatively straightforward shot that he should be saving. Having gone back and looked at it again, it does move a little bit. And I don't know if that has any sort of impact on what he saw, the way that he set himself. And then it's just bounced, hasn't it? And they've stuck it in. And there was one straight after that where he's kind of fumbled a really straightforward one as well. And at that point, in the stand, in the terraces, people were turning a little bit, and they were, idea what's going on. But I'm very much like you guys from that school of thought that this is somebody who, Wednesday night was still at Cardiff. He's coming Thursday. He's probably done 1, if not 2, training sessions with us. And I know it's going to sound ridiculous saying this, but he's got some big shoes to fill. He's replacing a lad in Piers Charles who's, highly regarded amongst Wednesday fans, and there'll be a reputation out there for Charles at the moment. So to come in under the circumstances that he's come into, I don't want to give him any sort of negativity at the moment. If ever there was a moment for somebody to get a pass, that was probably it. The only other thing when I was thinking back about it was, if he shits the bed and he's our emergency goalkeeper, we've got 3 months of it. So we need to get round this bloke and make him feel welcome and make him feel part of things without getting on his case, because there's been a couple of comments earlier on about Stretch going in there at 18 years old. I question whether or not that's the right move. He's young. I don't think he's of the calibre at the moment that Piers Charles was, and Piers Charles only made his debut last year. So if you want to look,
I'd only heard of him 3 months ago as well, 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? Let's not. It's going to be benchitis. I think you're right. We need to get round Horvath a little bit and just sort of say, look, it's going to be 3 months.
Do you think on that as well, Stevie, that we know how good Piers Charles is with the ball at his feet? We know that the midfield are there. Bannon or Ingleson's going to try and get the ball because he loves to play that ball. Is Horvath the same sort of goalkeeper? Probably not, but we don't know. So it's going to be another thing of, he's got to settle to the team and get some match practice, but he's also got to settle with a way of playing that's not, it's going to be probably alien to him as well, isn't it? So I agree with you. I think, yes, a goalkeeper, you never want to see a goalkeeper bounce off him and spill it. But there is going to be, it's hard to say, there is going to be a learning period for him, even though he's a very experienced goalkeeper, played at a much higher level than Sheffield Wednesday, to be honest. It's going to take some time. And I'm still on at the minute that probably 99% of the players have got a free pass at the minute because of what gone on. So I think,
So I totally agree with you. He was getting the ball, and the way that Charles plays, he will ground the ball and he will draw people in, and he will look to go and play to either a fullback or a midfielder dropping in. That's a certain style of play, and I don't know enough about Ethan Horvath to suggest that he can or can't play that way. But I would suggest that Cardiff probably haven't played the same style of football that we have. I might be wrong, but if he's played 18 months, 2 years of a certain style, to come in and go, right, your first game at Wrexham, with everything that's going on, you're an emergency loan, you've been third choice for however long, go fill your boots, lad. His first opportunity to do something was picking the ball out of the net, effectively.
I mean, what's the term that you used the other month, John? Was it ring rusty? And that's always going to creep in, isn't it? You know what I mean? So Wrexham were very good, John. The first half, we were thinking cricket score, we're thinking 5-6-0. You know what I mean? It's all falling to bits. However, credit where it's due. Credit to Pedersen to get these players up. Credit to the captain on the pitch to get it up. And it all changed, didn't it? It was a different game.
Complete night and day, as you said. That first half, Kiefer Moore was just like Shaquille O'Neal in prime 90s NBA, weren't he? He was just dominant. He was just out muscling everybody. It looked, and a lot of players back there were struggling with him because of his physicality. And it were a blessing to get in at 2-0 down, weren't it, to be honest, at half time. And you're thinking as fans, just get to half time at 2-0 and then see what Pedersen can shake things up at half time. And boy, we came out a completely different side, didn't we? It must have obviously some tweaks, but not just that. I just think the mindset, we were chasing things down, we were winning the ball back, we were dominating possession, we were creating chances. We had them on their heels pretty much most of that second half, didn't we? Really, it was a completely different team second half.
And then Stevie, Captain Fantastic, managed to slap one in. This bloke is moving up into legendary status for the club, isn't he?
Yeah, I can't speak highly enough of him, and it's well documented the sort of the feelings I've got about the bloke off the back of him signing that contract. And I think a number of us all feel the same. He didn't have to stay with us, and there were offers to go elsewhere. You saw his class that second half, and then, I know he's 35, but he run his blood to water. And on the goal itself, there was a little bit of a scramble beforehand. The ground that he's had to make up to put himself in that position. And although it was just a side foot, and it's that traditional sort of stereotypical, it's your job, he was in the right place at the right time to just open surface it into the back of the net from 10, 12 yards out. But he could have easily skied it, pressure on, and he's going to pick that ball up. And he was just everywhere on Saturday, second half, all over the pitch, making tackles, bringing people into play, giving it to the crowd as well. So no, absolute credit from my point of view.
Go on, Ash.
I have something to say. I thought Bannon in the first half was awful. First half, I thought, but fair play. I put it in the group chat. I'll admit it. I thought he was awful. I didn't think he affected the game. But 2-0 down against a very organised Wrexham in the first half, and I was scared that the second half of like the Leicester game, where we got to 60, 65 minutes and tailed off because of the preseason, I thought that was going to happen again. I really did. But look, I've rewatched the game again, the highlights, and I proved wrong. I was harsh in the first 45. I thought he wasn't awful, but he wasn't the guy that we know and we expect as a 35-year-old. But the second half, yes. That absolutely, I don't know what happened to him at half time. If he got a kick up the arse, if he gave the kick up the arse.
I think Barry's the type of guy to give himself one as well. I think he's the type of guy to come off and go, "Okay, you're better than that, Baz. Come on now, dig one out," and he did.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. And I'll admit I was wrong. The second half was a different Barry Bannon that came out, and yes, and you saw from the superlatives, and you bet you thought you weren't going to hear that word, especially from me, coming from the Wrexham fans after the game as well, was fantastic to see. And there was a heat map that someone put out as well, and basically for a 35-year-old to be in every space on the pitch, apart from, I don't know, in one of the corners, I think it was fantastic to see. So yeah, I admit I was wrong, but I'm glad he got his goal.
There's that saying that water covers 2/3 of the earth, and Barry Barron covers the other third.
I think only giving him a third's a bit harsh on Barry Barron. Excuse me, bit of windy pops, and then stupid sexy Kadamashri steps up. John, listen, we're 2-0 down. He's drawn it up to 2-2, and I thought his celebration was quite mooted. I'd have my shirt, take your shirt off. He should. I'd have been all over everybody. I'd have been in the front row of the crowd. I'd have been all over the bloody place. I mean, he was quite. I think it just goes to show his level of maturity for such a young man, doesn't it?
Yeah, Yeah, and I think, to be honest, I think he's thinking, right, it's 2-2, and let's go on and win it now. So I think he's thinking, get back to the centre circle and let's go on and win this, and we'll come on to that as well. But yeah, he's again. I thought McNeil had some good play down that right hand side a couple of times during the game, which led to our goals. Particularly, obviously, gets assist for Cadamarteri. Good first time instinctive finish. Yeah, big lad, big presence. He could. It's a shame that we're in the situation that we are, because he could flourish with more quality around him, couldn't he? Having had that good spell at Lincoln, and it might not have been prolific. I know he had his injury issues, but what it were is, to put an old-fashioned phrase on it, it were men's football for him, weren't it? Going to Lincoln and getting rough and tumble League One, League Two, whatever level football they are, and he's done him. He's come back, like I said, he's come back bigger, stronger, hungrier, and I think that was a reflection on that 2-2. Yeah, sexy 2-2. I think he's thinking, right, lads, let's go and win it. So yeah, but good finish, good goal.
I think you mentioned, I think was it last week or the week before, about the pre-season and these coaches, that private coaches or private PTs that the players have been having, and I think Danny, his dad, made a comment on Twitter that he hadn't had a pre-season. He's done it all himself. He got I know that him and his brother, they went halves on a coach, because his brother's done fantastic as well. It's great to see, and it has worked for someone. I know there were a manager that derived them, didn't they? And his player came back injured, but Cadamarteri has equipped himself as still a young guy that's put the work in over the summer, knowing what a shit show he's coming back to as well, that he's got himself in the best physical and probably mental condition for the battle. And it is a battle that he could do. And I think for, like I said, 18, 19-year-old, that it's all power to him. And I think he's a credit to a lot of pros should look at what he's done.
Absolutely. Now, Stevie, I'm going to talk to you about the thing at the end of the game, but I assume you wanted to add something about stupid, sexy Bailey Cadamarteri.
Just two things. Give him a little bit of love, because he's found himself in the Jamaica national team today. The prelim squad, him and J-Lo. The other thing, just as a sort of an observation, everybody's heralded his brother as being the one that is the one. What if in 2 years' time, Bailey Cadamarteri's we retain the one?
Oh, no, we won't retain him.
I don't retain him much, to be fair, but it'd be nice. I agree with the sentiment. Yeah, you know what I mean. But then let's talk about the McNeil miss right at their death, Stevie. This is the moment where he's kind of places at the goalkeeper. I like Charlie McNeil. I thought we'd see more of him last season when J-Lo and Smith kind of fell out of favour a little bit. I thought we'd see more of Charlie, especially in the cup runs that we had. I don't particularly begrudge him this miss. I think it's a lot harder because his first touch is a lot. The keeper's done well coming out to him. But the best thing about that miss, as it were, was the build-up play. It was measured. It was quick. It was mature.
Yeah, we will have been on the wrong end of a counter attack like that however many times over the last 18 months, 2 years, but the ball's broken, and it's come from, I think it was Lowe that dived in and made the tackle, the first tackle that the ball's broken free to, and then they just set off. We've laid it off to the right, laid it off to the left to Bashiri, who's played it across, and if you actually look, Bashiri holds his arms up as if to say, you've drawn the goalkeeper, we can play it square again now. And, he had a choice to make. Again, like you just said, I'm not gonna criticise the guy. He'll have been knackered. He'll have done a lot of running that day. Bear in mind, it's his first start in the league, certainly this season, I believe. I couldn't tell you the last time he's actually started a league game, so if he has at all. So it was a big afternoon for him as well. And you could see he was gutted on his knees, head in hand, because that was literally the last sort of phase of playing the entire game. But given everything that we'd gone through over 90 minutes, the fact we were 2-0 down, and then shown that sort of resilience to come back and the determination to get a hold of the game. And, we talk about stats. Our stats were excellent second half last Saturday. To be where we were, it is what it is, isn't it? And unfortunately, we couldn't get the 3 points. But if anybody had said to us at sort of 12 o'clock on Saturday, you're going to get 2 points point after being 2 goals down, we'd have bit the hand off for it. So no argument from me whatsoever.
And just look at them stats as well. I mean, for those watching on YouTube, obviously you can see that. But after that first half, to look at those stats: 21 shots, 7 on target. Absolutely dominant, weren't we? Second half.
The resilience shown by this group of players is absolutely overwhelming. If there is any kind of positives to come out of the last 6 months of Sheffield Wednesday, these players that have stayed with the club and the resilience getting shown and the leadership that they're receiving is absolutely overwhelming. They are up against it week in, week out, and they are playing their bollocks off, and it's genuinely overwhelming to see. And honestly, you know, we saw Tom Burton post the holy trinity of black and gold shirts with Sheridan, Waddle, and Hurst, and he added Bannon into that trio, and that is high praise indeed from Sheffield Wednesday fans. And if I'm honest, I don't disagree. But anyway, Sheffield Wednesday. Go on.
Sorry, Dan. Just one thing. Sorry. Do you think the Pedersen, and there's no criticism of Pedersen here at all because I think he's doing a great job. No substitutes till the 1 on 77, then all the rest, 2 more on 90 plus. Now, I know we were chasing the game, and I know our bench is pretty light as well. So, is he obviously saving people or hasn't got the stuff on the bench that he requires? I know we're coming out with 2-2, and we've got a point, and I'm not being critical at all. It just highlights he's got nothing, has he?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think when you brought that up, if you look at that bench in Stretch, Weaver, Otterbayo, Johnson, Shipston, Thornton, Fusiri, Granger, and Lowe, it's slim pickings in it. Physically it's a deep bench, but in actual effect, it's not a deep bench. But anyway, Sheffield Wednesday got themselves.
Sorry.
I'm going to finish this game.
Sorry,
one
mate.
game. Go on.
Super quick. Ingleson was outstanding. Move on.
Don't skip ahead.
It'd be remiss not to mention
button.
Ingleson.
These ads are lean, not belly mutton. A tiny break before we pop. And don't forget when fun stop.
Sheffield Wednesday got themselves fucking hell. Sheffield Wednesday got themselves a 2-2 draw away at Wrexham, getting themselves off the foot of the table with no points and putting themselves above the relegation places. Now, let's talk about the thing that happened this week online. So I need to obviously make sure that we deliver this in a measured, balanced, and speak about it way that we endeavor to do on this show. You know, we are what I'd refer to as light entertainment with a few F's and Jeffs, not so much in the nuts and bolts of it all. However, my longtime friend Ashley, below me on the screen right now, is part of the engagement panel, and I need to make sure I mention this as well. I've known Ash for 35 years now, and Stevie, you can attest to this as well, that we have been badgering him for insider information about the EP for a good few years now, and he don't give us any. And what happened was over the weekend is that it was very clear that that a lot of the engagement panel in, however, I assume it's a group chat or an email chain or something, Ash, had got together. It's a WhatsApp group, had got together, and they'd been approached by the club, which is a mandated meeting. I believe there has to be 2 of these meetings every year, Ash. I think you've mentioned before. Is that correct?
Yeah, but EFL rules are 2 a year. But this one, we were supposed to have one in June, I believe it was. One that, like, at the start of the season, set out the dates, you know, for when they come out and all that sort of, or the next meeting. And it was cancelled for, obviously, probably various reasons. And we, as an EP, we've badgered the club for a good couple of months now for a meeting. One, to start off with, to get our regular EP meeting. But then, obviously, in the last fair few weeks, months, it's been more of we need to meet the club because of we need to get communication of what's happening. And yeah, so it's a request from us, and obviously the club came back on, was it Saturday afternoon?
Okay. Okay, so the EP then got together and issued a joint statement saying members of the EP have today been contacted by the club to arrange a date for a meeting. As a group, we will remain professional and reinforce the fan base demands Depon Chansiri sells the club. Fairly straightforward, a big old statement there saying, listen, I know we're in this perceived inner circle, but we're just going to say sell the club, right? That's what it's going to be. That's what the statement says. It is what it is. And when I was at work Saturday night, and I've been with my family the last couple of days because it's been bank holiday. And every time I open my phone, that message was met with a significant amount of vitriol. And this is where I need your comments here, folks. Now, I know that the EP is perceived in certain ways. The first one being, I know it's perceived as being a closed shop. You know what I mean? There's no meritocracy in getting in there. I don't know if that's the case. I also believe that it's perceived as being Chansiri's puppet people. You know what I mean? I got a lot of puppet gifts. That was fun. And
do you want me to just give you a couple of seconds? Plus, we've just had a question as well, which I want to answer. So Johnny Owl 1985 was, can I ask how you were selected to be on the EP? So basically 5 years ago, I think it was, the club put out an email and a social media thing asking for volunteers to become a member of the EP. I wrote an email to the club and said I would like to. I think I could offer something. And I obviously got an email back saying, thank you very much. Would you like to be on it? Yes, I would, because I thought it'd be an honour that I could help Wednesday fans. And for me, it was to improve the match day experience for every fan and make it more accessible for fans to get to the ground to watch Sheffield Wednesday. And that's my thing of joining. So sorry, cheers, John, for the Johnny Owl.
So being the podcast and the outlet we have access. We're in a fortunate position where we get a good few thousand of you guys listening on a weekly basis. And whether you download it or you watch it live or you're involved or you're a passive watcher and things like that, we have an obligation to make sure that we are measured, that we're balanced, and we don't really dig anybody out. I think even when it comes to the players, we should be digging out the goalkeeper, but we also know that there are mitigating circumstances to any side of anybody's truth. And you've got that age-old adage of if you go to both sides of the truth, somewhere in the middle is where the true truth lies. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So as the day went on, my phone had a meltdown. And then the trust who joined the EP, was that earlier this year or the back end of last year, Ash? Can you confirm?
It was back end of last year. So they were originally on it, and then they left, and then they tried for, I think it was like a year and 18 months, and we as the EP voted to get them back involved because we thought they'd be a good addition because of all the experience they've got and what they can offer as well. So yeah, they came back on board,
and they are.
Yes,
they are. They're albeit a lot more militant than some, but I feel like what we have on that engagement panel is a lot of different people of different backgrounds, different experiences, you know what I mean, and things like that. But there was a few comments I just couldn't let slide. One of them being that the trust should be the overarching umbrella of all of the fan groups, and I felt that one was a bit nuts, because I don't believe that the members of the trust, for example, or people who watch this podcast understand, for example, what it's like to be a woman going to the football. You know what I mean? And that's where the women's supporters group comes in and their experiences and things like that. And it don't work like that. Now, there was a period where all of the EP was aligned in their thinking, and we celebrated that quite a lot on this show. But there was and John, Stevie, I'll offer this up to you, because this is the bit I couldn't get my head around, and I'd love to hear your feedback on it and whether I'm blinkered. And these guys that know me, this is a very rare opportunity where I ask for feedback about myself. Is that we kept getting told over and over again over the weekend, you should boycott it, you should leave it, you should tell him to bollocks, you should absolutely, you know what I mean? They were all different ranges of the same sort of message. Now, me personally, when you think of that Eminem song from 8 Mile. If you had one shot to have everything you ever wanted, do you know what I mean? If I had it now, we talk a lot about getting the message out. The message out surely can happen in this EP meeting. Like, this is the bit that and Ash, I appreciate you can't really say much on this, but if I had an opportunity to say to the chairman, hey, when are you going to foxtrot Oscar? Why wouldn't I take that? I didn't understand the vitriol behind that. And I am genuinely open to feedback to somebody to explain it to me.
Yeah. Do you want to go first, Steve?
John, do you want to go first? I'll let you go.
Okay. Yeah. I'm of the opinion that I would like to have the opportunity to ask many questions to the plight of our football club, from a man that's essentially ghosted the club from June, July, up until present day. We've seen asset stripping happening. We've seen players let go for less than market value. We've seen, the stand be closed for a period of time. The club has been crumbling from the inside out. I want that man to stand in front of us and tell us why. Why has this happened? What you're going to do about it? Have you got serious people wanting to buy the club? Have you turned bids down for market value? If so, why? I could list dozens of questions. I want to look him in the eye and say, when are you going to leave this club? When are you going to sell this club and do the right thing? I want answers. I don't care about people saying you shouldn't do it, you should boycott it. If we just sit by and just let him get on with it, then how is he ever going to know how we truly feel, other than the fact that we're not going to games? So what? He's not going to games. He's not even there. But if you're there and he's there and you can grill him and find out and get some answers, I'd want that opportunity. But
in order to bring balance to it, John, I appreciate that. Thank you. I know it's sometimes difficult in a public forum like this, talking about your own feelings and what you would do personally. But there's an element of, like, I know how I feel about it, and I need to back the EP up on this. And something you mentioned there, I want to ask him a host of questions. I trust, and even the heavily edited minutes that have come out of these EP meetings, and I say heavily edited, the truncated minutes that have come out of these meetings are derailed a lot by Chansiri. And a lot of questions that I feel like you said you'd ask, I feel that they have been asked. But now I think we're so far down the other side. I understand it. Stevie, what about you?
I would want to know why the meeting, and I'm asking Ash rather than offering a viewpoint.
Yeah.
Why has the meeting been called now? Is it because he's been told that he has to as part of the mandate, or is there something coming out that potentially could come out of this meeting?
I do not know, mate. I don't know. It was out of the blue. Like I say, it was Saturday morning, afternoon time, I think it was. Out of the blue, just saying, are you available to meet sometime next week? And that was it. It's not, so you do think, is something happening? Is there something to say? I don't really imagine that he's got a great deal to say, to be honest. But is it because it's out of the blue? Why now? Why on a Saturday before a game? As he said, can you meet next week? So I don't really know. There's nothing there. There was nothing else with it. There's usually, when we have an EP meeting, if you're not aware that we have a date, just say it's the 1st of November or whatever. Then a month before, we as an EP get all together and we thrash out what we'd like to put on the thing. So we get an agenda together. We go to the club, right, within good time. So this is the agenda, and then they come back and say, "Yep, that's fine. We add something to the agenda." So depending what it is that they do, and we agree, and then and that's it. We have the meeting, and that's it. So for them not to come and offer anything at the minute that we've seen, that I really don't know what the meeting's about, and that is where
and a
little bit of what is it about, because I've seen it on social media. Obviously, we've talked about the people saying don't go, and I really get that. I've been sat. I must have wasted about 5 days in meetings over the course in length of 6, 7, 8 hours, and fans forums for bloody same amount and all that. There is a part of me that is, why now? What has he got to say? But then I do understand people are saying that he doesn't deserve the right to say. And I get that as well, because the way he's treated the club, the fans, the staff is diabolical, beyond anything that anyone would imagine. So I get that as well.
Okay.
So it is like that. But for me, I do want to know what he wants to say and have a chance to actually get him in a room and make him feel. Because at the minute, for me, we don't know for certain, does he actually understand? Does he not turn the telly on and see all the social media stuff? Does he get it shielded from him from the club so he doesn't see? But in a room like this, there's nowhere for him to go, is there? There would be
and that's why I don't really understand the boycott it vibe, because I think there's an opportunity to stare him down in the face and go, are you going or what? Because we don't want you here. You know what I mean? That's that for me was what the statement, the joint statement that put out was. Before I move on, I want to just reference a few comments, because I did ask for comments, and I want to educate myself on everything that's happened. So we had Tim Wymark, who said, if it goes ahead, it needs full disclosure, no waiting weeks for edited minutes, full statement issued within days, whether the club or DC like it or not. I wholeheartedly agree, because I think it was the last EP meeting back when we were on holiday, Ash, wasn't it? And we were doing the Eminem, Dear Dead, you've still not wrote, where's the minutes? I hope you have a chance. And that undermined everything that the EP did. And I know that there's a distrust to the EP. We've also had John Hancock say, do you honestly think he's going to answer your question and he will waffle on for 7 hours? That's usually what happens at these EP meetings. He picks on the wrong thing that's been said in a question and will waffle on about it and derail a conversation. However, I feel that this one specifically, it's just going to be, we're going to reinforce that you sell the club. That's it. No other question.
And exactly that, Dan. And that's what I imagine will happen. I think that everyone involved in it is going to have just that one question, like a combined question of what that is, because I think that is the only question that is probably permissible for us to get in a room and ask. To be honest, I don't know what the thing is of it at the minute, but I would, that'd be one on my list if I was able to write a list.
Well, this is it, isn't it? It's not going to be. Nobody cares anymore about the hot water in the toilets anymore. You know what I mean? This is not semantics anymore. This is looking him in the eye and saying, "What are you doing about this? When are you going to sell us?" So I don't know about this 7 hour stuff, but I know that's what's happened previously. But there's only one question we want answering now, isn't there?
That's so. Listen, I'm just gonna chew through these comments, and I appreciate your candor on this one, Ash. So John Wakefield, just to bring it back to Wednesday week, said shittest inner circle I've ever been in. That's fair. Harpo Speaks has gone on with two things here. He said no one on this podcast ever dug out a goalkeeper. And then Cameron Dawson got referenced. So that's I think that was my learning curve there. Actually, that's when you got a new Dan Fudge kick in that day. But he's also gone with the idea of having a meeting with him is cooperating or enabling him is a nonsense. So hang on, the idea that having a meeting with him is cooperating or enabling him. Yeah, I don't feel that that's it. So there's this narrative that's been kicked off that if you are part of the EP, you are enabling him. You're one of his puppets. You're one of his minions. And I don't think that that's the case at all, because we've discussed it at length on this show a lot of times that he does treat these people with a lot of what's the word?
Disdain.
Disdain is perfect. Yeah. Disdain. And then you're right. So next one here, we've got Johnny Al says sense of minutes to make it a pointless exercise. I completely agree. I would quite happily like a verbatim one. And then
the minutes have never been censored. They are not verbatim. They are, I don't know what the word is.
They're truncated. They're giving you 70% of the gist rather than every word that's been uttered. And I feel like that's where the distrust comes from, and I completely understand it.
Yeah, of course. But when you sat there for 6.5 hours, there's going to be pages and pages and pages. And if people want that, which they're totally at odds to have, then you're not waiting 2 weeks or whatever it was, or a month. You'll be waiting probably 6 weeks or 6 months or whatever for them. But then that is it, isn't it?
So Sam Watkins has gone with, I think some of the thinking is that is that it is not only the club truly engaging with the fan base, whoever is attending feeling that it is Chancery just box ticking for EFL purposes. Yes, it is. However, we have an opportunity as the EP, or they have an opportunity as the EP to go, we still want you to sell. So whether it's box ticking or not, there's an audience on Zoom, by the way, because there's a lot of comments about kidnapping him and stuff like that and kicking him in the eye on our on our Twitter feed. But it is box ticking, but it also presents an opportunity, and that's for me is how it should be perceived. Johnny's gone with a question, Ash. Question: will you sell the club? Followed by a 20-minute rant that doesn't answer the question. That's a danger, right?
Right. Yeah. And this is where we as EP members and probably even his own staff need to be strong and say, look, everyone's read the minutes, and the people have been to fans forums that he does just waffle on and divert onto something else, and then he'll fixate on that. And then that, but hopefully with just the very small agenda that we hopefully have, that this doesn't happen, and it's very quick. Because, like I said, the only question I want answering is
when you're going.
When you're going, because that's the only, for me, and I'm not speaking for anybody else on the. That is the only question that needs answering, and I think whatever that answer is, if it's never. No, yes, I'm going next week. There's someone buying it or whatever. It will answer quite a lot that fans want and deserve. So that's for me personally. That's where I'm going.
Okay, now this one, John raises a point here. He said he won't be there in person, just his puppets. Has there been a time before where Chancery's not attended and it's just been somebody from the club?
Yes, there has. There has been a couple of meetings, but majority of them he is there.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. On the occasions he's not been there, we have gone through a lot of stuff and understand with the people up there where it was like, especially in the time when Liam Dooley was there, he was quite good on them majority of the time, that things happened or perceived to be happening. But yeah, I'll be honest, I feel 4 or 5 years of doing this, the engagement panel has put forward hundreds and hundreds of suggestions for the fans. And there's not been a great deal that's been took up, and that's not just Chancery though. That would be other ones.
Okay. So let's just move this on. And so there was the joint statement. Ash, thank you for answering those questions. I appreciate that was difficult for you. But on the back of that, so we've had a joint statement from the majority of the EP members, but the trust went rogue, for lack of a better team. The trust wanted to put out their own statement and control their own narrative. And I need to be honest. I get it. This is not me digging them out, right? I understand why the other EP members are aggrieved that they didn't follow what they'd agreed to post. They put out their own post. But some of these suggestions that the trust have put out aren't horrific. You know what I mean? They're not bad things. So, for example, the sole subject to discussion is the sales process. That's what the statement says anyway from everybody else, right? They've done that, agreed, right? The meeting is streamed live and recorded by the Wednesday Till I Die podcast so that supporters, the English Football League and the incoming football regulator can view proceedings in full. I understand why that's a point. I think that would negate all of this stuff about the minutes, and because you're part of the EP, Ash, and James isn't, I feel that they would be, a viable outlet in order to put it onto their platforms, right? Local journalists are invited and permitted to ask questions. I think that negates the first one, but I understand it. I think that the local journalists are in a bind because they need a relationship with Chancery, and I don't know how much they would go at it. But I also need to just interject at this moment as well. We did ask Ian to come on the show to talk about this statement, and we were going to have a frank, open, honest conversation, really balanced one, because Ian's a balanced guy, right? But I think he's just got back off holiday, so this is not me talking behind his back to 2,000 people. But Sheffield members of Parliament, including Lord Blunkett, are invited and permitted to ask questions or may nominate a representative they cannot attend. The meeting is chaired by an independent figure, agreed by Sheffield's MPs, with responsibility for keeping discussion on topic. I love that, because on that first one there, when we've got, local journalists there and we've got Lord Blunkett there all asking questions, a meeting chaired by an independent figure does need to happen. Because Ash, how many times have you sat there in those meetings and gone, I need somebody to grab hold of this, and you're looking at Trevor Braithwaite going, fam, stop him off, and he's kind of looking at you going, I don't know, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And then we believe, under the current circumstances, the existing terms of reference for the engagement panel no longer reflect the seriousness of the situation. We will engage in any forum that guarantees transparency, accountability, and genuine dialogue. If these conditions are not met by midday Tuesday, the 26th of August, which is tomorrow, the Sheffield Wednesday Support Trust will consult our members on whether to withdraw from the engagement panel. Confirmation of acceptance can be sent to, and there's enquiries at swfctrust.co.uk. We encourage all supporter groups to join in pressing for openness and honesty. Now, I don't disagree with a lot of that. I genuinely don't, and I don't think that many people do. Why that opened us up, and the Women's Supporters Group and Owls Americas and all the other people on the EP to abuse, I didn't understand. We have an opportunity here to say to the chairman, when are you going? What you've effed this up, leave. We have an opportunity to stare him down in the face. Why this one? This is the first one after all this has happened. This is the first EP meeting where we have an opportunity to say that to him. Why this one? Why have we got to boycott it now? Now, Ash, if you go next week, let's say it's next week, if you go to this meeting and all of a sudden he answers your question or he starts derailing it, then yeah, we'll walk away. We'll get out of it. I don't need the ramblings of a madman. You know what I mean? Splashed all over social media, causing us shit. I don't need it. I've got better shit to do. I'm trying to see my family, and my phone's absolutely vibrating my backside away. You know what I mean? I've got industrial white ass from the way my phone was vibrating all day Sunday.
Yeah. The statement I was a bit peed off about, of course, because obviously I can't go on with what happens in WhatsApp groups, and that'd be very poor of me to do that. But when a meeting gets called, that people do throw suggestions in the pot. Everyone has. It was like, there's going to be a meeting. The club want to meet. Right? What do we do? What do we want? So there was loads of suggestions put forward, and there were some great ones, really good, and a very democratic thing that we all talk about it, and we say what's going to be put forward and stuff. And that I can't really say much more. I'd love to, but I'm not a prick. I wouldn't do that. So there were things going on in this WhatsApp group that everyone is partial to. There is we do talk, and there's everyone, all the representatives in there. So yeah, there was things going, and then for something that comes out a couple of hours later that is a statement from one of the members that wasn't consulted or anything like that. And you can put whatever statement out you want, of course, but while we're going through a process on the EP, it did seem a bit harsh on all the other members.
Yeah, what they've said wasn't wrong. It's just not what you'd agreed as a democracy. I feel, and I feel like you've got a right to be aggrieved. But I also believe that there will be mitigating circumstances as to why they did that. And like I say, I wanted to get Ian on the show to talk to him about it, but he has been away. Shitty solid he has ever had, by the way, sat there having to manage this shit. Yeah,
it is understandable. There are members, there's supporters groups on there. We are different, and I've questioned my involvement before on the EP because of what position we're in, and I'm a podcaster. There are people on there. The trust have got thousands of members. You've got the Women's Supporters Group, got a few hundred, maybe 1,000, I don't know. There's Rainbow House, there's Southwest, South Wales. There's loads of Wise Old Owls. There's everyone on there with all different membership numbers and everything like that. I don't represent anybody. Do you know what I mean? We at this podcast, we don't tell you guys what to do or anything. We give our honest opinion on things and talk about football and stuff like that. But I wouldn't profess to represent anybody. I go as a single, but as a part of a podcast, and anything that comes out of it, I do talk with the 6 other guys on the podcast about it. We discuss and all that and everything, but it's not we don't have members, so I'm
Yeah,
a bit
all
out of
right.
it. It's not really the stuff that happens like this is not. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm trying to say there?
I do know what
it's
you're
a bit
trying to say.
different.
Now, we are in a fortunate position in which we have access and we have a loud voice. We've been doing this for a third of my entire life on this planet. And we have a responsibility in order to give you measured and balanced and honest and frank, sorry, I'm just going to get Stevie back and it threw me off there. Measured, honest, frank opinions, and I want to talk about the truth. I don't just want to inflict my opinion on everybody, and that's where we are. And when there's an opportunity in which to share information, we can do it. Now, Ash, I really appreciate you doing that, but we've got a bit of an issue now that Stevie was about to do his bit and his internet has completely kicked him off. So he's back. He's back. That's
He
good.
needs
The
to pay that
timing on
bloody
that.
bill.
I was going to say, you need to pay your internet bill. But in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen,
Last man standing, who survived? Fantasy League keeps dreams alive. And when there's something shiny new, Stevie's first to see it through. So place your bets, come join the play. Our gambling man will lead the way.
yes, it's that time of night where I told you I'd have a snazzy graphic ready and a snazzy tune where we speak to our gambling officer, Mr. Stevie Spence. Over to you, Spendog.
Hello, good evening. I'm going to try and be the consummate professional by hoping that my internet is working and you can all hear me. We've got, for the benefits of people that are involved in our online gambling and stats and information that we've got going on, we are currently running the Tipple League. I'm just going to get the graphic up for that. Last week we had we had Ellie, who was Universal number 1. She's currently topping out at number 2 at the moment, joint top. And I've put it up there because number 3 is our own one and only host of the Wednesday week. Is currently sitting third in the Wednesday week podcast league. Every one of these graphics that you'll see, by the way. That's why I've come back. I've only come back to big you up, mate.
Nice. I appreciate it. I tell you what this is actually, because of my TalkSport show every Thursday, 5 p.m. TalkSport 2. I'm now learning a lot about the lower leagues, like as time goes on, and I've got insider trading knowledge on League 2 now, lads. Jot that down.
We've also got very, very successful FPL league that's running as well. We've just clipped the top performers here, and we've talked about this over the last couple of weeks. We're going to have a manager of the month that we're going to chuck some tat out to. So the top 10, several members of our LMS group are in there. We've got John Wakefield, who's ironically a member of the EP. Is currently sitting there in second place on 147 points, one behind Richard Rowling. And then we've got Anne Barker, who perennially turns up and does really well in our LMS on 135 points. So, yeah, there you go. And finally, we've got our fantasy league that is up and running. And Ellie is still holding strong up there with 304 points, putting me to shame because online betting and guessing is not my bag, and I'm absolutely stinking the joint out at the moment.
I appreciate the update. Thank you very much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, do we have any other business that we want to mention before I wrap this up?
I did have, but Stevie mentioned it earlier on, so it was just the shit show that's going to be me and Stevie take over the YouTubes tomorrow, watching the.
Tell us about it. Tell us about it.
Yeah, the watch along. Come and join it. Come on, right? So basically, what it's going to be is just this. With what we do is we're going to go like this, and we're going to talk about that, and that's it. And we're going to try and give you an alternative commentary and all sorts of different, I don't know, viewpoints on a game live. So you can imagine you are sat next to me and Stevie on an away day, and this is the sort of stuff you'll get. And I'm not on the beer either, so I won't be drinking. I'm not in Stoke. I am home, so the internet should be okay. So
As long as it's better than Stevie's, as long as someone can talk, like, you know what I mean? We're going to be all
The
right.
critics are already calling it
Honestly.
Ted Lasso versus fantasy football.
Brilliant. We also need to mention that Andy Sinton to get well soon. It was announced that he wasn't too well, and I was shocked how young he was. And there's a bit of a sense of mortality around something like that when somebody in their early 50s suffers with something such as that. But get involved on tomorrow night with these pair of clowns. It's going to be shit. It's
I think Scotch 24. I'm not gonna name it watch along. I'm gonna go shits and gigs because I think that's
shits and gigs.
Watch,
Yeah, live shits and gigs.
Yeah, get
I'd
it on
call
the,
it watch with brother from another mother.
Shits and gigs.
We'll have that. Yeah. So it may be the first and last time, Steve. What do you reckon? Unless we get through.
Me and you never agree on anything anyway, do we? Yeah.
It's going to be box office, kids. It's going to be box office.
Oh,
Listen,
We never
thanks
agree.
a lot for
We never
joining us.
agree.
Never agree. Thanks a lot for joining us this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we will reach out to Ian again. I hope I wasn't disrespectful. I hope we were balanced and measured and the like. And I appreciate that a lot of you are more angry than other people. A lot of you at different places, and you all want to complain in a different way. I completely agree. But let's please remember we are all Wednesday, and we all do want the same thing. In the meantime, see you later.
Every week, live from 8 p.m. It's the Wednesday week. Bringing you football analysis.
But he said we'll win the league next season.
Bringing you banter.
I don't think anybody wants to listen to my boring anecdotes.
Why not? You've been doing it for 4 years on this show.
I should not have said that.
This show's like you're mental. No, I'm not.
Clip that.
Bringing you terrible impressions.
Wibble, wobble, wobbly, wobbly, wibble, wobble, Cyber Jordan. Hey, pay your bills. I don't know where these jokes are coming from.
Available on all social medias.
Obviously, this goes out on YouTube and as well as all the other social media out there for podcasts, etc.
The award-winning Wednesday week. Join us.
Put on your